Boy, oh boy, did I need to breathe deep yesterday.
Um, just kind of talk your shit for a minute, Just kind of.
Do you want to give me, let me hear your perspective while I continue. I've tried to gather my thoughts now for going on 20, 27 hours, and they've been all over the place.
My biggest thing was, well, we both know, what was it, 14 penalties, which is a team postseason record. Literally taking a gun, loading it, pointing it at your foot, saying, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot, and shooting yourself in the foot. Don't know a better way to describe it than that. And just a lot of missed opportunities. Both sides of the ball, though. Like, both defenses, I don't know if I could count on this hand how many balls were up in the air that were just barely missed. So, missed opportunities. The penalties, dude. Oh, my God. I think it's a coaching thing. I think you guys, you have, Kellen Moore's a good coordinator, but, I just feel like Mike McCarthy has no fucking clue what he's doing. I shouldn't say fucking, he has no clue what he's doing, and,
We're going to be cussing with it.
Yeah.
You can disregard that rule.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like coaching and identity is, your biggest thing, because you have a shit ton of talent. Defensive and offensive side of the ball. So much talent. It's hard to name a roster more talented with players in their prime specifically, because the Bucks have talent, but Tom Brady's 40, 50 years old now. Dak is young. You have a young great receiving core, 2 good running backs, and a great defense. I think it comes down to coaching and identity and discipline. All those penalties. I can speak from experience with the discipline and penalties. We also did talk about how playing the 49ers right now is just not ideal. You don't really.
I don't think it matters.
You don't want to see them.
Who it is at all.
Okay.
It was the same old goddamn story as always, except it was on Nickelodeon this time. Before I even have a memory, Tony Romo fumbled the snap on the field goal. And I think it preordained me. I'm sure I was in some room that was watching that game, and there was the agony that we felt yesterday and all the other years. But Tony Romo fumbled the snap, and if Twitter was around the way it is now, then there's no way Romo would have been able to continue playing football, because he would have just gotten buried alive.
Yeah.
Buried alive.
Yeah.
But then they come out and they have a 13-3 season with Tony Romo, and they're the number 1 seed, and they host the Giants, and they have again a game that is a letdown of all letdowns. And now, after that game, it had been 12 years since being in just a title game, let alone a Super Bowl. 2009, they finally win a playoff game against the Lions. Or no, that was in 2014. In 2009, the Eagles. They won in a wild card game, and they went to Minnesota and got just absolutely dominated by Brett Favre in the game led to what did they call that game? Bountygate? Yeah, Bountygate. That was the game after that in the NFC Championship, when Brett Favre got taken out by the Saints, when that coach was Greg Williams. Yeah, Greg Williams.
Yeah.
So, weird disappointment that year. It still hasn't happened, but at least at that time, that was, I think, the first playoff win. I was only 10 years old, so I at least had seen a playoff win. I didn't think we'd be here 12 years later, and I still have not seen them get past the divisional round. In what year was that? We have a couple collarbone, a couple back fractured years from Romo. Still, meanwhile, this entire time, Jerry Jones is guaranteeing the Super Bowl on Sunday Countdown to start the year every year. And I hear all these analysts saying what you just said, that it's hard to say that there's a roster with more talent. It's all there. They got the defense, they got the offense, they got the quarterback, the receiver. It's just got to all come together. And then in 2014, or in 2011, 12, and 13, we have the classic Week 17 playoff games, where it's a winner go home game on Sunday night, and we lose first to the Giants, and then to the Eagles, and then to the Redskins. Just pick one. Since 2005, we've still not had a repeat winner in the NFC yet, in the NFC East. So then we get to 2014 and we finally have this dominant season where we have a 12-4 and we win a playoff game, and then we go to Lambeau and now it's the Dez catch, and that just gets ripped out, even though we shouldn't have won that Lions playoff game with the Anthony Hitchens pass interference. That should have been. But we don't get it to that year. Now that had been I think 10 playoff appearances since they had been to a conference championship, and now it's really starting to hurt. That happened to me mid high school when like you get shit on by your boys for every little thing. And now I'm a Cowboys fan and then that happens, it was just the whole, I mean, that next week at school was just the worst. And then Dak, the Romo preseason, when he broke the back before we knew what Dak was, that looked like just like it was hell all over again. And because the year before they had been 4-12 because he got hurt and broke his collarbone twice, once against your Chargers on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Dak comes in. It's like, holy shit! Now we're 11-game win streak, 13-3. Oh my god, we're actually gonna this is finally it. Nope. First game, Aaron Rodgers throws the 3rd and 30 pass or whatever to Jared Cook down the sideline, and Mason Crosby hits the field goal that goes as far left as you can go, and then comes back with no wind somehow. I don't know what happened there. I guess the sunlight in from the. What's up with the stadium? Did you see the stadium?
Yeah.
It's our home stadium. Why do we have the sun glaring in to where you turn around and you can't see a pass that's coming?
That one where it just
Dude,
goes like,
it's happened many times, but you're screwing over your own players.
You gotta update this. You gotta do something. Put in some
Curtains.
blinders or something.
The sunsets. Like, this is a $1 billion, $2 billion stadium. What are we doing?
Jerry can't add something to fix that where you just like you hit a switch and they open or close.
It's unbelievable. And then we make it 2 years later and we beat the Seahawks, and that was like the pinnacle because I was living with the Seahawks fans and it was like, fuck you guys. Then we go right into LA the next year in the Coliseum and do absolutely nothing against Jared Goff. And now this year is the same thing, except we finally have a defense, everyone tells me. We finally have an elite corner, everyone tells me, who gets burnt so goddamn often. I've stuck up for him all year long, but dude, stop biting on the double moves. Why are you biting on the double moves so much? You can contest with guys, just guard them, and then when the ball comes, make your play. It's 60-40 your way. Stop biting on Ayuk's double moves multiple times. Yeah. But I text Cade going into this week. I'm like, it's going to happen. It happens every single time. I've seen it 42 times now, and now it's 11 times since that they've been in the playoffs without reaching a title game since 95, longer than anybody in the entire league. It's always expectations, but yet we always, it doesn't matter if it's Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, Scott Linehan, Wade Phillips, or Jason Garrett is the offensive coordinator. We come out slow, we get down 10-0, 14-0 is what I said, and it turned out to be 10-0. It was 23-7. A 16-point in the fourth quarter. CeeDee Lamb's got one catch in the fourth quarter. Like, Zeke is playing on a torn PCL, yet I see no Tony Pollard other than these kickoff returns that are good kickoff returns. Like, the defense all week has been, we just got to stop the run. And then Randy Gregory jumps off sides. You said 14 penalties. Dude, 7 pre-snap penalties.
That was
his
so
holding
bad.
At the end of the game, that was just so unnecessary. Connor Williams, I would love to just, Mikey, when I was walking downstairs, I think it was going into the third quarter, I think sold one of his guns or something yesterday, and I walked by and saw it, and I said, put that thing away. Put it away, because otherwise I'm about to take it and either off myself or and there would have been because I just sit and oh my god. And then of course we come back though. Jimmy throws an just inexcusable interception.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Inexcusable. Dak runs it in and it's like, oh my god, are we actually okay? They get it. I don't think. Yeah, they just kicked the extra point. First of all, the punt, another horrible coaching. Mm-hmm. Yes, cool, we got the first down. But then they do this like thing where they keep the punt team on because they're trying to force a timeout when like the 49ers just have 11 defenders on the field, and then they rush them out with only 15 seconds left and they end up getting a delay of game. It's a 1st and 15 and it's like, dude, another just like, what are we doing? I'm surprised they didn't call their own timeout though to screw themselves over even more. But then they force another punt, and then we get it back with, like, before all of the shenanigans at the end. That is a whole nother story. we got it back with like 2:40 left, 3 timeouts. And it's like, oh my God, we're actually going to get Leighton Vander Esch made like a great tackle on Debo that got held him short of that first down. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we're actually going to have a shot at this. We don't even need a 2-point now. We just need 6. And then Greg Zerline to miss the extra point. So we at least go into overtime. And they get it back. And of course they do nothing. And it gets to, they call, I mean, I don't know what it is with the play calls that when they run a bad passing play on first down, they feel like they have to run it on 2nd and 10 because it's like Kellen Moore can hear Twitter getting mad at him for not running the ball properly. It's like, stick to what your philosophy is. Like, don't just cave and don't try to change the game plan because you're afraid it's going another way or what. I don't know what his deal is. He's a great coordinator and play caller, but like they go through these lapses where it's like, again, CD, like Debo. We knew Debo was going to get 10 to 12 to 15 touches because he's your best player. You find a way to get him the ball, and your best playmakers, CD and Tony Pollard, everyone, like the guys, Amari, the guys who you want to touch the ball, were just not touching the ball. And it led to some heave on Dak to Cedric Wilson that, of course, again, was like inches away. That would have been, it would have been unbelievable, and I wasn't expecting it. But like the fact that when they showed the replay, I was like, of course, it was actually that close. And then we miraculously get the ball back because of a 4th and inches that led to a illegal formation or something. We get the ball back. And the 49ers tried. They tried so hard to give us the game, with whether it be Jimmy G or the defense playing soft. And then on that last drive, them just leaving the sidelines open and letting us to the 43-yard line or whatever it was. And then you have that play that I don't even know what to think. I don't know what we're thinking.
You want to catch them, like you want to be like, they're not expecting a quarterback draw, but you also what they had.
There's just no way that quarterbacks don't know. I heard Peyton say it on one of the Monday night broadcasts earlier in the season that his internal clock was 18 seconds. If there's 18 seconds on the clock, that's when he knew he had to either throw it either in the end zone or out of bounds, or throw it to a guy who can get out of bounds, because we're not going to be able to run up and spike that ball. It might have been 16 seconds, but I think it was 18. Regardless, we had 14. So
yeah, it was
14, that should already be firing. And then you already in a game where everything is going wrong, these pre-snap penalties, Dak's missing throws, CD is dropping a ball, Amari can't hold on to balls. You shouldn't, like, that is a play that would take everything going perfectly for it to work. And Dak gets down, hands it to the center. Why are you handing it to the center? Hand it to the ref. The ref has to touch the ball. Romo was on it immediately. Romo was so good yesterday. And I don't know. Like, there had to have been part of him that was like, I don't know. I don't know if there's any part of players, or maybe especially someone who went out like him, was like still like 10% bitter and kind of like, like they still fuck it up without me. But he also named his kid Jones, so I think he's pretty invested in, like, I think he is rooting for them deep down.
Oh yeah, dude, come on, that's his career right there. You know, deep down he's like,
and they paid him $150 million, so I'm sure he's rooting for the Jones family. But I'm not even mad at the end. I mean, I personally, again, don't know anything, but like I would have. Well, I mean, Dak should have known to get down quicker, but also like, if you're running 20 yards now, your linemen are having to catch up, and you're having to rely on the refs to get set back in play. Like,
that ref didn't do him any favors when he
he didn't
into him.
No,
but, like,
and it was stupid. And
he's rushing. He has to get in. The back judge has to be there.
I'm sure the ref wasn't thinking the quarterback draw was coming either. Nobody was.
And like, why running up?
And they were playing so off. Like, why not have Cedric Wilson in the slot? And like, it'd be quicker if you just were in shotgun and you threw it to him. Like, the ball travels faster than you run, so you could get down there quicker too.
You can get 12. You can throw 12 yards. Have your lineman be as soon as he's down, barrel up the field.
And what's the difference? What's the difference between the 27-yard line and the 31? Mm-hmm. Like, why are you going? If you're going to get a quick 15 to make it easier, either way, you're going to need a Hail Mary. At least if you would have tried it before that play, you would have had realistically 3 tries at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that was just the cherry on
that's
top.
That's a coaching thing. That's just Mike McCarthy.
I don't even think, at that point, though, I don't think it's Mike making that call. It's Kellen. He's the play caller.
No shot, dude. At the end of the game like that, you know the head coach has a majority of the say. Maybe. I don't know.
But
every
like,
dynamic is
him saying, like, him having a say like that means all of a sudden under 2 minutes, McCarthy's on the headset, and then he's just all of a sudden out of nowhere like, oh wait, no, let's run the draw now. Like
Yeah.
I think it was Kellen
I think
just trying to be creative, and he tries those creative things. He did the pass to Cedric, who then tried to like throw it across to Pollard, which again it was a play where Tony was like, it's actually a smart play call, but now you look pretty stupid because it didn't work, and it did look stupid. And he tries things like that, and they work sometimes, they don't work others, but. I mean, I think that's him sending that call in, but it also has to be Dak knowing.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing with Dak? I mean, he's missing these easy throws. He's like, meanwhile, I'm seeing Mahomes, who makes as much money as he does, throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. I see Josh Allen have the best game of any quarterback of all time. And this is a San Francisco defense that lost Fred Warner throughout the game. They lost Nick Bosa. They lost one of their, like, Dredrick Wills or one of their other D linemen. And their secondary is nothing to brag about. Why are we not going deep? Why is their secondary the best matchup we have? And Amari has like 3 catches and CD has 1. And we're at home. We're the only home team to lose all weekend. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable. And I don't know. I'm just done. I'm done. I say it every time, but like, I hate this team. I hate it. I hate it more than I love it. And I can't start liking another team or anything, obviously. It's not how it works. But like, I'm already grumpy old guy. I'm grumpy old guy who's never seen his team win. I'm a Chicago Cubs fan in 2014. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan in 2001. I'm a Cowboys fan born in 1999. And I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Like, I got in my car, turned the radio off, drove straight to the dispo.
Okay.
And I just greened myself out.
Might have to cut it, but no more break then, huh?
No, I am now. I just needed that yesterday.
So you were on a
I
break.
fell off the
Okay,
wagon.
okay.
I
No,
fell off the wagon.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I put my phone away. I've stayed away, other than seeing that we're keeping Mike McCarthy. That's cool.
You are.
Yep, Stephen Jones. Yep. He said he's safe. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's not his fault. Coaching 7 pre-snap penalties isn't a sign of bad coaching.
Okay, wait, I had a question about the Kellen Moore thing and the Mike McCarthy thing before we wrap up on this. How long has Moore been like the coordinator for?
Since Dak's rookie year, or since his second year.
So the thing is, and I could be completely wrong, and like I said, I think depending on who your OC is and your head coach, like Andy Reid, obviously, he's calling the plays, I would assume. I mean, Bieniemy helps him, and Andy Reid can't do everything at once, for example. But you got to think head coaches in big playoff games, win or go home games, primetime games, they have what they would like. I feel like they like what they would have to do within like 2 minutes. Like, okay, I've been game planning, I've been scouting, I have plays that I want to run situationally, and I feel like Mike McCarthy had his hand in that. That just seems like a Mike McCarthy.
I mean, his
thing,
hand was in it, I'm sure, but I mean,
like a draw like
this
that.
is
That
so
just
much
seems
bigger
like a Mike
than McCarthy. It's so much bigger. I don't know what it is, dude.
Yeah, but
It's like
is
some
it a
type of
Jones thing. Is it a?
I mean, it is. Really, it is. I mean,
I'm sure there's so much pressure on him to. Jerry Jones, you gotta win this year.
yeah, which is why I'm surprised that they're holding him in. Because I mean, the fact that you're not trying to bring in Brian Flores, someone who could bring in just
could you imagine?
absolute stability and like a defensive mind to then go with your, because we're gonna lose minimum 1 coordinator. I don't know why everyone is so eager to hire Dan Quinn.
We saw how Dan Quinn worked out.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good leader and motivational guy.
He's
So
a great
again, maybe he just
coordinator.
didn't have the right. Well, no, because he had Kyle. But then they did go to a Super Bowl. I don't know, but
But
we're gonna lose one of those guys, if not both. And then I'm left with what? I'm left with fucking Tubby McGee, and then and whoever he decides he wants to.
that's what's scary right there, is letting Tubby make your fucking.
And we got Dalton Schultz gonna be free agent. Michael Gallup. We got Tyron Smith, another year older. He had his worst game in 9 years. Zach Barton had his worst game in 6 years. They both allow those most pressures that they've given up in that time. Dak is going into his. We're getting his money kicked in. We got Amari's money. We got Zeke's ridiculous $16 million. We've got 1 more year of Pollard, but we're about to have to pay Diggs to get burnt on double moves again all year. We're gonna have to pay Micah. So like DeMarcus Lawrence is still on the books. Randy Gregory's a free agent. Like, you only have these type of teams like every once in a while. And Tony said it himself. Their future was now. Their future was this combination of old veterans making good money and Dak Prescott still right there in the middle of his prime and Zeke right on the edge of his prime, combined with this Tony Pollard weapon you have that you're paying $485,000, combined with these young guys, this Micah Parsons All-Pro, Trayvon, Jaron Kearse a surprise, Van Der Esch playing his best games in 3 years in the latter half of the season. So yeah, CD is going into his third year, so after next year it's extension time for him. And then
I heard through the grapevine, well, mainly speculation, that this next year Zeke's under contract under next year, right? And then he's a free agent again.
we still have like another 2 or 3
Oh shit! Okay.
until he's like 31.
I'd heard something about how it's gonna be. Maybe it was the cap hit, like cutting him.
I just don't know what we're doing. We have this supposed best offensive line with these elite guys and this elite running back tandem too. And then every game that we need to establish a run and establish a start that isn't against the Atlanta Falcons or the NFC East, we get hidden in this horrible division that we get to dominate every year. And then if we just win a couple of these games, we're going to at least squeak in. But they're frauds. They're frauds every single year. And there's just never going to be a year for the rest of my life that I'm going to trust them. And that I'm going to trust that we're going to be able to come into a game with a coaching advantage. I don't know when. I don't know if I'll ever see a coaching advantage. Not at least while Jerry Jones is alive.
Yeah, I think he makes debatable hires and debatable it's not even blockbuster shit, you know? It's not like Mike McCarthy's like, we just hired Mike McCarthy. This is headline news. We're selling tickets. It's Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, like why did you not get Lincoln Riley? I mean, at the time I was asking for Urban Meyer, which I guess in hindsight we're happy not happened. But who knows? Maybe given this year, maybe we have our offensive coordinator next year when Kellen leaves. We bring in Urban.
No. It sucks because you're not in the dance, but let me tell you, not having a dog in the fight and not having to worry about it, and you don't have to, you get some time away from that team that's hurt you so bad. It's honestly kind of nice. I think that's what you gotta do. Just take some time, watch the Lakers.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, at least LeBron tweeted, "Laker Nation, we're gonna be better. I promise." Oh, thanks. That's gonna fix your perimeter defense. That's the worst in the league, and that's gonna fix your cancerous point guard. You're paying $44 million, and I mean, I'm watching Dwight Howard play 25 minutes a game for fuck's sakes, and I'm watching Wayne Ellington. There's never been a combination of Cowboys and Lakers, like it all accumulating into just the most frustrating seasons, because since the Chiefs game, it's like time and time again, whether it be the Chiefs or whether it be the Cardinals, the Raiders at home on Thanksgiving, like every time there's expectations, we find a way. And the Lake, I
shouldn't have brought up the Lakers here already.
Not mentally prepared to talk about how frustrating this Laker team is and how much I would love to just blow up the entire roster, and that includes LeBron. But that'll be for another time. We should probably move on. I've spent enough.
How long we've been going on this.
I don't want to talk about it tomorrow. I don't want to talk.
Oh, you're talking about it
tomorrow.
I'm not. No,
yes, anytime. If someone brings it up, I'm literally just gonna say like I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, fair
like
enough.
I've got it out now. I've said my piece. I don't want to have to I'm not answering any questions. I'm not defending or ridiculing. I'm just moving on. We have great games coming up this next weekend and a great fight.
Yep.
Virginia, the new Virginia governor signed and allowed parents the choice whether their kids have to wear masks at school and ended the federal vaccine mandate. Things are starting to accumulate here.
Do we once we're done talking about football, do we just get super political?
No. Nobody wants to hear our political talk.
I think they do. I think we have some good takes.
That's not even worth it at this point either. We're all you want to hear a political take? We're all fucked. That's the political take. Doesn't matter what side, because Trump's gonna win again in 2024.
Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is why we need the podcast.
He's gonna win again, and it's gonna be horrible, and it's all gonna go to shit just in the other way. It's all just going to shit. Like we can never just balance out ever. We never will.
I think they keep us in the shit.
Yeah, no, they're all secretly on the same team.
Oh, absolutely.
They're all secretly on the same team.
And they create conflict to keep us distracted from more important things. So it's like, oh, everyone's fighting. Perfect. They're not focused on what we're doing.
Yeah. No, we don't need to get into that trans swimmer from UPenn who's shattering every record.
See, we have a platform and we have the content.
Yeah.
You can't help yourself. I love it.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Let's go back to Saturday. Let's start with Saturday. We can get through these games and then kind of just quickly preview this next week.
Go
Good game to
Bengals.
start.
Who day?
Who yeah.
I love
Burrow.
it.
Man,
Fuck the
there's someone
Raiders.
better than Dak already, easily by a lot. Is Joe Burrow. He looked like he'd been there.
It's
five times already.
Sight to see him.
I've heard January Joey get thrown around because he had those 2 huge games in January and then that playoff game.
I don't want to see him in a potential divisional or championship one day. He's cold.
Yeah,
He's
it's only
very
going to take one more and he could be there against. I mean, the AFC is wide open.
And the Titans too. I mean, we'll talk about it, but
Yeah,
come on.
let's hold with the Raiders because they made the game interesting by the end.
They did.
Like the Bengals, as much as we like to say, like they do, will let teams hang around and they'll give, and their offense will stutter for a quarter and a half here and there. They're not like
They're
a
a
well-oiled
young team.
machine.
Yeah,
They didn't
they're-
look like the Bills or the Chiefs did this weekend, but
It's also a Zach Taylor coach team too.
I mean, it might be a good thing. It's only his what? Is it his second year there?
Yeah, and it's just crazy to think like we were expecting him to be fired. Remember?
Yeah.
We were talking about him.
I think it
potentially
just
being
tells you
fired.
what a quarterback can solve.
Oh yeah, having
mean-
a franchise guy.
It'll just immediately save you. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he didn't draft Burrow and had drafted, I'm blanking on someone else who won that draft, but let's just say
Jordan Love.
Yeah, then he's gone easily.
Yeah, dude.
So I still don't. I mean, if we're just talking like future and everything, that's a different talk with Burrow. But right now, you're talking about someone who's playing as good as most anyone in the playoffs right now, and a team that has this kind of feel about them. I like them having the underdog role going into Tennessee because I don't really think roster-wise there's that much of a difference between them and Tennessee. And I think it's a game that they're up to. Like, who was it? I forgot who was talking about one of the sideline reporters was talking about one of the Bengals free agents, and they had asked him why he came, and he just said Joe Burrow. And that's crazy. A guy in his second year is already having that effect on people across the league who want to come play for him and for that team. So, I mean, a valiant effort by Derek Carr. There was that last play or that last drive they had to go down and tie it up. I didn't like the clocking with 31 seconds when they were already down at the 5. Like, if you just run a quick play, you're losing, another 3 seconds, and then you still have another 3 plays. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I wish they would have ran something, use Waller down there. They didn't use him a lot.
Especially quick like that too. You have something where it's a fake clock it situation where the defense is expecting you to. You make it seem like you're clocking it, and Waller does some shimmy shake shit.
Yeah, I
in the
wanted
corner.
that. I mean, I have burned in my memory the Ben Roethlisberger fake spike to Antonio that almost won them that game against us.
Yeah.
So I would have wanted something like that.
It's pretty- I feel like it's pretty
Derek
doable.
Carr's future is up in the air. There was a report that morning that it'll basically be tied to who their next head coach is, whether he stays, if it's someone that wants to keep him around or not.
I think it should be
I think
Versace.
unless you're gonna get Jim Harbaugh to come there, that's the only one. I don't know, maybe
Really
Flores
entertaining
too.
Harbaugh coming back into the league though.
He's interested in it, and
I've seen
I
things
would
that-
like it a lot. I'd love him in Dallas. That was the only bright light I saw last night before this morning, seeing that Mike is staying, is that maybe we could get Jim Harbaugh, someone who could bring some
Yeah, but his
much needed
decline-
discipline.
His decline was. I mean, he went to a Super Bowl. Great coach.
It was quarterback
You don't
related.
coach. You don't coach and make it that far without being a fantastic coach. But his
And they got to
decline was
an
a
NFC
swift
Championship
decline. Oh yeah.
game as well.
Oh yeah, they were great. Like fantastic. I could never dispute that.
And
Jim
he's gone to
Harbaugh's a
Michigan, and he's been
coach.
great at Michigan. Everyone
But-
has wanted to beat him up before this year, finally giving him his flowers. But even going into this year, I was on the side of, I mean, it's Michigan. You guys have done nothing forever and for years. And he immediately made you a 10-win team, and you were always ranked top 25, top 15, and the only game that you couldn't win was Ohio State. And there was still the J.T. Barrett game that was a 4th and 1 they almost got, and if they hold him there, then they win, and that was controversial. And they finally did it this year, and they made it to a playoff. And now everyone wants to hop back on the bandwagon, but he at least would bring a discipline to us that we much need. And maybe if you're
yeah.
Vegas, I mean, talk about the year that they had, but their biggest
bad
thing in need
penalties.
is someone with discipline who can hold the team accountable, and that's what Bisaccia did. So that's why I think they should keep Bisaccia if you can't pull a name like a Harbaugh. And I would be a fan of him there. And anywhere he goes, I'll always be a fan. This game really was their whole season. It was like just all this weird. I mean, the inadvertent whistle for the touchdown that didn't get called, like, and that should have been a dead play. The refs this weekend as a whole were horrible. That's why I hate hearing the Cowboys freaking complain about the refs, because it's like, dude, first of all, the refs are horrible every game. There's 3 or 4 calls that are going to be bad. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why some of these refs have to be lawyers in their off season. I don't know why they get paid so little, and why some of them it's only a part-time job. I just have to accept the fact that we're just never going to fix the ref thing ever. Like, there's going to be bad judgment calls forever, because it's just human nature. So you're going to see that. But the Raiders one was so bad. Jerome Boger is just, he's talk about one of the worst of the worst. I don't understand. Yesterday in a Cowboy game and in that Bengals game, they'd have these long deliberations. There was a play in this Rams-Cardinals game that the refs like huddled around when AJ had this bang play that was like a 30-yard catch down the sideline, and he like caught it, took the 1-2, and like in the 1-2 he was going to tuck it right as he got hit, and it came loose. So like, did he complete the process? I mean, when you looked at it in slow-mo, it looked like he caught it, took 1-2, and then was going to tuck it. You could say he was, but then you watch it in real time, and it looked like it came out immediately and stuff. They literally deliberate for 2 minutes before making a call. Like, you're watching the refs talking. You can tell they're talking to New York before making a call on the field. This isn't like a review of a turnover or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they finally rule straight up 2 minutes later. The ruling on the field is a catch. Then the Rams challenge. And then they spend another 5 minutes.
God.
They go to commercial, come back, and they're still reviewing it, and take another 2 minutes. And then they come out and say the Rams won the challenge, and the ball gets brought back. And then it was that next play that Kyler made that horrible throw. So that challenge actually turned into that pick 6, which really seemed like a dagger in that game.
Well, all you really got to say is just what we want as fans, as like a resolution or like something to be fixed, is just officiating.
We really need way more robotic things. We need way more chip in the ball that knows when the first down marker is. We really need none of these bullshit. We need former players, really, in all the sports. I think basketball would be so much better officiated if it was former players like officiating, because they know a lot of these ticky-tack stuff that doesn't need to get called. They say it doesn't lead to a better TV product, but dude, I mean, watching just nothing but 138 to 134 games is not a better TV product. I mean, the regular season doesn't get ratings anyways, so I don't know what we're talking about there. So the officials were horrible in that Raider-Bengal game, but it at least was a much more exciting game than the one that ensued it. And that was Mac Jones and the Patriots getting just beat down in a way that I haven't seen, I mean, let alone from a Bill Belichick team, but from any team. It was 7 drives, 7 touchdowns for the Bills, something that had never been done before. Josh Allen putting his shoulder down and running the ball nonstop. You got him in space. They were able to run the ball. They could literally do whatever they wanted to, they go in and just absolutely roll.
Impose their will on them.
If you're the Pats, I guess you just run it back. I mean, do we still believe in a Mac? I mean, that first drive looked good. He made that long throw down the sideline. I can't remember to Hunter Henry. On like a 3rd and 13, they had another like 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10 completion, and then Micah Hyde made just one of the best interceptions I've ever seen.
He's so good, dude.
He's unreal.
He does not get his flowers enough.
Oh my God.
He does not get the credit he deserves, because he is a playmaker. He's so good.
Playmaker. He had one against the Cowboys in the 2016 game when they had a quick wide receiver screen that he just read like a book before the snap even started and jumped it and picked it off. Him and Poirier, like in the back, like,
dude, they're good.
First team All-Pro, second team All-Pro. Like, I mean, you don't think of the Bills' defense as having like a great defense, because they don't really have a ton of big names up front, or big names. I don't think in the linebacker.
Tremaine Edmonds, you got.
I mean, they're a bunch of like fine but not big names, but I mean they're just coached so well, And then you've got your playmakers on the back end, and then normally they don't have now, but imagine if they had Tre'Davious White in there too, one of the lockdown guys in the entire league. We'll get to it pretty soon here, but the Bills scare me.
That game, I have to admit I was very wrong. I had the exact opposite expectations. Shit, man, they are very scary, and we'll get to it like you said, but the game that they have coming up is huge, and that is such a statement game if they just go in there and do that. Come on, dude. Could you imagine?
Okay. Sunday morning before the debacle in Dallas, the Bucs took care of business. Mostly as expected, the Eagles made a little bit of a storm, at least a storm to cover the 8.5. They had a drive going down at the end. You're like, oh my God, are the Eagles really going to ruin this bet for millions of people? I mean, Brady looked good. They didn't look great.
You have a good week here where you can play the Eagles and work some things out.
Right. And when they needed, in the first quarter and then coming out of halftime is when they had their two big spurts. That's going to be another great one with the Rams this upcoming week. It's just crazy to think that Tom Brady is doing it again. I think that was win number 35 in the postseason.
Yeah, he's looking for, if everything's all said and done and he keeps winning, it would be 38, and that's more than I think franchises too.
Oh, yeah. The quarterback with the second most wins is Joe Montana. And did you see what it is?
It's low.
16. He is more than double the next guy. Like, that is just
the next guy, and then he's about to pass the Patriots for most playoff wins by a franchise as a player.
Yeah. It's unreal.
Come on.
He's won more playoff games with the Bucs than the Cowboys since I've been born.
Oh, no.
Oh, I wonder if Mikey sold that gun. So that one went as expected, and they covered there, and they set up a home game that's gonna possibly send them to Lambeau and at least into the title game against the Niners, who Brady grew up rooting for. And if we got a Niners Bucs, then we're getting Jimmy G versus Tommy B.
Could you imagine, dude? That'd be crazy.
That'd be good. That'd be great either way. And then we went over the 49ers Cowboys, and then another game that went as expected. Really not a great week of games, but still fun.
Wild card's kind of mad because there's always those new teams.
And especially now that we have the extra one, it's like a 7 seed. We're getting stuck with an Eagles and a Steelers in the playoffs that really maybe shouldn't be there.
2 or 3 teams every year, maybe it's 4, where it's a new team that gets the playoffs every year.
Right.
Just so happen to be the Eagles and the Steelers, and you're not expecting too much out of either of those teams, so
no. And Ben,
wildcard's kind of brutal.
I think we finally saw the last of Ben. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch. I saw it later on, but I couldn't after the Cowboy game. I was just thinking so many other things.
I couldn't do it either. As the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Ben Roethlisberger hater, and I couldn't even. I watched it, and I was like, okay, I know how it's going to go. I feel okay. I checked the score a couple of times. I checked the ESPN app. They're down. Just a smile on my face.
Yeah. So it looked like, I know there was a TJ Watt fumble recovery at the beginning that gave the Steelers a little 7-0 lead. And for a second, I was like, am I going to have to turn this on? Like, yeah. And then Mahomes just, talk about what looked like a well-oiled machine. He had an almost perfect passer rating, 400 yards. And 5 touchdowns, and sets up, like you mentioned, a absolute showdown in Kansas City next week. The game that we just watched was another blowout, another game that I was not expecting to look like it did. The Rams host the Cardinals, and just from beginning ran the ball down their throats, which led to, when the Rams can run the ball, talk about a coach who can set up a play action and bootleg game like no other.
That's his bread and butter, dude.
Yeah, and Odell has been great. He now has 6 touchdowns since coming to the Rams, and which ties his entire span of touchdowns with the Browns. And the Cardinals in the second quarter is where it got away, and they just looked lost. Kyler looked frazzled. They were getting pressure, and I know there's no hop. I know you got past his prime AJ and Christian Kirk and Elijah Moore. Like, I know they weren't helping you. But, the scrambling wasn't there. He, just like last week, was holding the ball in the pocket for so long, and I don't really understand Why?
You can't expect that out of some guy who they're calling an MVP for the first 8 weeks. We're looking at a Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
oh, Kyler for MVP, so good. How far did they get before they finally got beat? 9 games, 10 games?
Yeah.
Were they?
They were
9-1
9-0 or 10-0. Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking like your brothers in the same. You're looking like the Seahawks,
Yeah, it's becoming a pattern where like late in the year he's just taking all these hits, and then he still has these couple plays, which when you're younger you get away with being really good while having the couple boneheaded plays a game because you're young, you're not experienced. It maybe comes at you fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're now gonna be in year 4, I believe, this next year.
You're getting MVP talks
Yeah,
throughout the season,
and you're fighting what originally was for a 1 seed until 2 weeks ago, and eventually, the best example is tonight. That throw he made, that decision he made when the Rams win the challenge and the Cardinals get the ball back. When he threw that pick 6, that's when it felt like, dude, this is over. The Rams were getting the ball coming out the second half, and you thought if you can just get 7 here before half and just keep it at 2 scores, then we can at least get ourselves back into it here. But no, they punt it again, and it ends up being 21-0 at half, and then the Rams come out and go right down the field, and then it's 28-0, and it's just over. So eventually, we're not going to be able to give him the pass anymore for these late game and late season plays and stretches of inconsistent play. We're not going to be able to. He's coming up for an extension soon, and obviously, we're going to give him the extension. No one's saying that they should move on and try to rebuild with somebody else.
Oh,
but
no, he's great.
But eventually, either the expectations and the accountability for him needs to grow, and he has that kind of laissez-faire attitude too, where at least even when Dak is looking like he shouldn't be paid $40 million, you at least still look at him and be like, all right, like, I love this guy, and like I still believe in him even though I have no reason to. Like Kyler just looks like he just checks out and he just kind of throws his little tantrum or whatnot. And that would frustrate me as a Cardinals fan a lot. So
kind of melts down a little bit.
I'm not sure where they go.
You stick with.
Everyone is safe. Like Cliff is there and Kyler's there, and you probably just tell yourself it was some injuries, and you just try to bolster still through the draft, and you still have Kyler. Like you still can build like a team around him.
You gotta get another receiver. Because Hop.
It exposed them. It exposed them when Hop went out. That like what we thought was good was like really like C guys who turned into B guys when they had Hop with them.
Kirk's good.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Christian Kirk's a good receiver.
He's Cedric Wilson though. He's like Cedric Wilson level.
Yeah. You need another guy.
He's not even
Hop
number 2.
Can't stay healthy. Hop
And
might
if
have
you
a
look
great
around the league
offseason.
now, like it's not just having one guy. You need tandems, minimum tandems, if not trios.
For receivers,
yeah,
depends on the team, I'd say. Because like, look at Devontae Adams. You got Valdez-Scantling as your.
They're very much outliers. They're very much
that's
outliers.
Also, Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Yeah. Very much.
Okay. Yeah. Like the Buccaneers, though. Tom's old ass.
Buccaneers,
you
like
need
Rams
Mike
now
Evans,
with
you
Odell and
need
Cup. The
Godwin,
Cowboys with CD and Lamb. Yeah, Godwin and Evans.
Yeah.
What other?
Williams and Keenan Allen.
Williams and Keenan Allen. The Chiefs, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Like,
yeah.
Even the Bills. The Bills are just digs. But
the Bills are kind of like the Cardinals, though, in the way that, like, you could really benefit from having another guy taking some attention off Diggs. Because if it's not Diggs, who is it?
Right.
Emmanuel
Dawson
Sanders?
Knox.
No,
yeah.
no,
Cole
no
Beasley.
Yeah.
Luckily, they just had a quarterback who stepped up in a way that Kyler didn't. And again, it's so much around him, game plan and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, Josh Allen played his best game.
With arguably one receiver.
Right. And not a running game and not some crazy offensive line.
Running game.
Right. Yeah. Like I wanted that tonight. I didn't see them use Kyler in any kind of way to get him out of the pocket either, which when you're facing all this pressure, that's exactly what you want to do.
I think it's because he's banged up. He's like,
I
want to
don't
preserve
know.
him, but it's playoff time. You got to win.
Yeah, there
you
is
just
no.
have to win.
Yeah.
There's no preserving at this point.
No.
You preserve in week like 12, 13, 14.
You preserve the first 3 months of the season is what you should be doing. You should be not running for any time in the first until December, except for big third downs and stuff.
Last 5 to 6 weeks, last 5 to 6 weeks, and then if you're so lucky to make it to the playoffs, you have to throw caution out of the window and play to win because it's winning season. You have to,
So looking ahead to next weekend, Saturday, let's just go in order. Saturday, no, we're not going to go in order. Yeah, okay, let's
No,
just go
let's
in
just
order.
get out of the way.
Yeah. All right, the Tennessee Titans are hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Titans, are we getting? We're getting Derrick Henry, aren't we?
I haven't really seen anything, but
Everything over the last month though has been like he's.
ever since he got hurt, it's been like, okay, if they can get that by somehow,
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be playing. Yep.
okay.
I think I saw that he was running some stuff with the second team this week. Still not first team reps, but
Getting
I mean,
healthy again.
I don't know what to expect from him because it's like.
What do you do?
It's like, yes, he's back and he's an animal. But yeah, it was a Jones fracture, which is not. That's a tough one too to come back immediately.
Especially
from.
your bell cow who runs 35, who gets 35 touches a game.
Right. Although we're talking about someone who's unprecedented
human,
in
yeah.
the history of running backs, so I don't know what to expect. And they're hosting a team that is just the advantage of playing well at the end of the year and maybe having that wild card game. It's always a debate before when it was two divisional teams that had a bye. Like, do you like the wild card team that's coming in with some like momentum, and like how does that factor in with like the rest? I mean, it's probably dependent. If you're a team that needs the extra week of rest, then you're like crossing your fingers and you're automatically in the divisional round and you have home field. But there is an argument that the Bengals are in a better spot here. So, what do you think spread-wise? What would you guess that it is?
The Bengals are red hot right now. Like we said, like they're just playing super good right now. Tennessee's hosting. It is a playoff game. And we saw last year in the playoffs what they can do. Like we weren't expecting them to shut down Tom Brady like that and send him packing. Was that last year or the year before? No. His last year. So they were in Tennessee, correct?
Right. But they beat Baltimore last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. So, if anything, I feel like it's pretty even, but I feel like the Bengals are a 3-point favorite.
The Bengals 3-point favorite. The Titans are -3.5.
I wanted to say that, but then like the Bengals are so hot right now. Joe Burrow is on fire.
But yeah, if we look at some of the Titans, ever since that Week 1 debacle to the Cardinals, that will get chalked up in the book of Week 1 wins that you never really care about. They just have so many good wins. They beat the Bills. They beat the Chiefs 27-3. They beat the Rams in LA. I mean, beat the Saints. Got beat down by the Pats. That one was a weird one. But beat the Niners. Like that. So
Where are you leaning?
It's such a hard.
It's not. I just feel like I can picture in my head right now a Titan.
I'm going to pick the Bengals. I think they're going to win.
That's what I think too, but tell me you can't see an AFC championship with the Titans and the Bills or the Titans and the Chiefs. Either or.
It'll be a like foundational coaching win if it's the Titans because Vrabel coaches up his team so well, and I have to believe they've been preparing more so for the Bengals than the Raiders this past week, assuming they were going to win. And you could say, still young quarterback, Joey B, and all that stuff. Maybe if they get pressure on him, then they can make some of those kind of errant, still young Kyler-like throws. I mean, dude, I'm going to have to change this Carson-type throws to Kyler-like throws after that one I saw tonight.
I was going to say that's a Carson throw.
Yeah. So I won't be absolutely shocked at all if the Titans win. I really like the 3.5 that I'm getting the extra half point with the Bengals. But I think it's just hard for me. I've loved them all year, even though they've, like I said, disappointed me with their Jets loss and their Ravens blowout and whatnot. But I just love the momentum that Cincinnati's playing with. They're playing with this underdog favorite type deal where it's like they're so young and up and coming that it's still like an underdog ride.
But you don't want to face him.
No.
You don't want to face Joe Burrow right now. He's going to drop 500 yards on your head. He's crazy right now.
Tannehill's probably the worst. Other than, I guess, maybe Jimmy G playoff, though, that's left.
I mean,
with Mahomes and Allen, and then A-Rod and Brady. And
Stafford, Brady, Mahomes, Allen, and then Garoppolo and Rodgers. So Garoppolo or
probably.
Garoppolo's.
But, I mean, Tannehill's, it depends.
Garoppolo's been to a Super Bowl. And he's.
I know, but, I mean, we still don't. I didn't. He played okay to start the game, but he's like. He's only playing well when everything works well. He's one of those. He's clearly one of those.
Yeah, when Debo's going off.
Yeah,
that's
what, all these other guys, except maybe Stafford. Still, maybe he's probably in that tweener age of needs a system, but also has crazy arm talent and crazy talent in general. But Tannehill and the other one, Garoppolo, are the guys who need to be in the system. And then when their system works, and Tannehill's in a system that works for him, though. So that's like every time we go into a big game,
So's Garoppolo,
he looks like every time we go into a game that Tannehill's like the inferior quarterback, it seems to be when he steps up and kind of runs a lot and makes you think, oh, this guy's kind of fast. I always forget that he can run. And then, yeah, and he plays well in those moments. It's when again, all that pressure is on that, and maybe things start to break down and that it starts to get put on his shoulders more, that you start to think like, okay, I don't like this.
Because he's a B minus or like a C plus tier quarterback in the grand scheme of things. When you're
he's a B. He's a B who has A days and has C days, but he's not like these consistent A's who, when they have C days, you're shocked.
He's not an Allen Herbert.
No,
Mahomes,
clearly not.
Big name, put the team on your back guy.
Which is why I'll pick the Bengals. I'll be wrong, but I'll pick the Bengals.
I'll take the Bengals too. I think that's a good upset.
So then Saturday night here, they switched up. They switched it up here. Okay, so Saturday night we have the 49ers going into Green Bay, a game that we've seen many a times, it feels, the last 3 years. Most of the time that's kind of dominated by the running game of San Francisco, and this is a Packers defense that's still kind of questionable.
Rodgers is like 0-3 versus them I think it's in the playoffs.
It is, yes, and that's now 8-2 in their last 10 games. 49ers, before that horrible fourth quarter that they tried to give it back to us, they were on schedule and they were running the ball, and they still didn't even use Kittle. They used Kittle not at all, and Debo's the best weapon in the game right now.
By a country mile. I'm glad you said. I was going to say that at some point.
It's unreal, and Elijah Mitch is unreal. Jimmy G's a system, and he needs it to work well. So if the Packers can win early downs and can get ahead, and all of a sudden Garoppolo's got to throw to come back, and it could get bad. I think the low that day is going to be 2 degrees. It's going to be like 21, the high.
And that's Aaron. Aaron Rodgers has been doing that for what now? 14 years.
Right. He's going to look really old, but he's going to look really good.
He don't mind the cold.
Yeah, no. This one's in Vegas zone. 4.5 point favorites are the Packers.
I hope this is the.
I would stay away from the spread, but I think the Packers take care a bit. I think
so too. I think we
don't know what the deal with Bosa is. He's got a concussion, and now they're having to play on a quote unquote short week.
Warner
on Saturday. He rolled his ankle. He'll play because he was already ready to come back in if needed at the end of the game. But
banged up, though.
Banged up for sure.
One thing goes wrong on that ankle, one bad cut or something happens where you're off balance and you put the wrong weight on there.
Yeah.
I'd like to think this is the year because we see so many ugly Packer 49er games where it's like, okay, the Packers are going to roll. They don't. They really don't. I think this is the year where I hope this is the year where they can take care of business.
Yeah. I think both feel pretty confident going with Green Bay at the end of the day. And if we're shocked, then we're shocked.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Sunday at noon on Fox, I would assume, is another rematch from earlier this year. The Packers did beat the Niners just earlier this year on a Mason Crosby last-minute field goal. That could be a wild card. Robbie Gould now still hasn't missed a playoff kick in his career, and Mason Crosby has been bad.
He's on
that'll come into play for somebody eventually. But the Rams are going into Tampa Bay in a spot that I like the Rams in, if I'm being honest. They just looked good tonight.
Just kind of looked.
They're beatable. The Rams shouldn't be the favorite because they shouldn't be the favorite against Brady. But the defense is clearly one that at least to this point, especially over the last couple months, hasn't just stopped people.
Not like last year.
And the Rams' defense tonight looked fast. Von Miller looks like prime Von Miller right now.
It's because he got such a late start.
Oh my God,
he had him away. And
he had a play where they threw it out to someone like a wide receiver screen or something on the edge, and he was out there basically when the receiver caught it, and it looked like 2015 Von.
He's been saving some energy for.
It's crazy. So if you have him and Donald up front, and then you got Ramsey in the back, DJ Reader played great, and. You got these other corners getting pick sixes. They look like they're playing. I know we didn't even like it the last month, but I like that momentum. And when OBJ is going, it gives the offense. They didn't even utilize Cooper Kupp in the middle of the third quarter. Cooper Kupp had one catch, and yet they were up 28-0.
Bucs secondary, especially with Godwin being out too. You got Mike Evans. You got a couple other no-name guys who look,
and then Tyler Johnson and
yeah.
I don't know, man.
Be an upset,
I don't know.
But I think No,
We know Jalen's gonna travel with Mike, so I mean, if
because
they can
that's
just
the
take
only
Mike
guy.
out,
That's the only guy.
yeah, The Rams are 3-point underdogs. I think they're gonna win.
That's a good bet since
I
they're
think they're gonna
underdogs and
win.
it's winnable.
I'll take the Rams.
I still think the Bucks are gonna Bucks. I don't know though. I talked myself out of it. Like their secondary's kind of hurt right now, and you have to account for OBJ, who just turned it on.
45-yard pass.
Mid-season signings. It was like, what are they doing? Like Von Miller's old as shit. He's hurt. OBJ didn't look great, and then come playoff time,
It's that extra juice.
yeah. And I'm not saying they didn't try, or I'm not saying anything like that, but.
And I think
You
these guys
gotta
want
think
it for Stafford really bad too.
Yeah,
Like he's a guy who's been so even
league-wide.
coming into tonight, it's like he's 0-3 as a playoff starter, and it's like, yeah, but like it's so not him. And like, I mean, you have the one against the Cowboys, he should have won. So I mean, yeah, I think that's gonna be a really fun game.
Okay,
that's gonna be. A
I
really
like the
fun
upset though. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, any team clearly could win that one.
I just think that the Bucks will somehow manage. I think that the Rams could
Yeah,
get exposed.
yeah, I mean,
somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
Stafford makes a couple bad plays because
Yeah.
even if your personnel isn't quite there, they have a good defense. They have
yeah,
good
he
formula,
didn't
you know
tonight,
how
but
to-
before tonight, Stafford's had a few weeks of
these
making.
last couple of weeks
yeah.
were kind of debatable, and
Yeah.
you don't have the personnel, but you have the philosophy, you have the scheme, you have the game plan. The Rams defense is gonna have to be the unit that wins the game.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against Brady at the end of the day, no matter who you're talking about him going up against. And that sets up 3:30. What I hope is the NBC game with my boy Al and Chris. Hopefully not Mike and Drew, because that was. I mean, talk about guys who didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Bills Chiefs.
That's the. I mean, besides Niners Packers, because we know that's always juicy. This has got to be the game of the playoffs. Besides the Super Bowl.
I think other than if it's the Packers. If the Packers don't make it and play either the Bills or Chiefs, then like this ends up being, or even the Bengals, because that would be fun as hell. This is the game. Like I think this is the AFC Championship. I think whoever wins this game beats Cincinnati or Tennessee rather easily, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, because there's certain tiers, like we said with Tannehill.
Yeah.
The Titans, they're the one seed, so
I mean,
it's hard to say.
you're
they're
talking
lower
about
tier.
what now is Manning Brady. What is like these matchups between Allen and Mahomes now is going to be many a time over the next 10, 15 years. Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites, so they're giving you that little window if you want to make it 3. In Kansas City, for what you want to take out of that place is going to be absolutely bumping. Starts at 3:30, 6:30 their time, so it's going to be a night game. It's going to be cold. Oh, dude, what? I don't know.
I say Chiefs. I don't even want to talk about it. I say Chiefs. Allen's red hot. Just had a career statement game, letting everyone know who he is. I don't care about what everyone else has to say.
I think my gut says Allen. My gut says the Bills.
I know. I know.
Because this is the one hurdle they can't get over, that they can't get past.
And at some point, it's gonna be like a career NFL history thing. Allen did it, Like
yeah,
it's a
like I think
Brady Manning
they're
thing.
gonna go. I think they're gonna do it.
I think Arrowhead playoff time.
Again, I think they're gonna
night
run
game.
them again. I think this is gonna be physical. I think it's gonna be.
I think the Chiefs will find a way to chief their way into a victory, though.
Man, that's going to be so good.
Like,
so then we'll get left with either so what I think is going to be Bengals Bills and what you think is going to be Bengals Chiefs. And then what I think is going to be Packers Rams in Green Bay, and what you think. I honestly hope you're right, because I would love to see Brady. I would love to see Bucks Packers again in Green Bay, again, rematch of last year.
Please, Rodgers, one more ring.
Yeah. The most fun matchup is
Oh, yeah.
I mean, whoever wins the Bills Chiefs will be great against the Bengals. That's the best case. And then Packers Bucks is best
That would
case.
be fun. And imagine Joey B just does have that game.
Takes
Any team
over.
can win any game, and he takes him to the fucking bowl.
That'd be insane. All right.
Really exciting.
It'll be it'll be good.
Sucks our teams aren't in it, But
Yeah.
also we don't have to worry about Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers mollywopping
I was
our
so
team,
ready
so.
and to go back to Green Bay. I had this whole thing planned out
Oh,
in my
shit.
head that will be because we would have gone to Tampa. That
This is
my
the time.
birthday, the NFC Championship game, was going to be us going back to Green Bay
Is it
for
your
the
birthday?
revenge. Yeah, on Championship Sunday this year.
30th?
Yeah, so I thought it was all going to line up. I thought it was.
No, you don't want to. You don't want to be there on your birthday.
I
You do not
know,
wanna be
I
there.
know. It would make it hurt more, but it would have been fun. It would have been fun
would've
week
been fun.
leading up to. But I can only dream now.
Hey, I'm right there with you, Fred.
I know, it's just.
Disappointment. Playoff wins not being there.
It really is. It's like when you hear parents like talk about like when you see those things where they're like, "I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed." That's like what it is now. It's not even like a I want to throw my beer at the TV type feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a sitting and just empty.
You can't be disappointed. Like the
Emptiness.
thing is with me is like, I know the Chargers are gonna choke, fuck themselves over, or
I guess it's like
Both.
the only difference between the way that our teams do it is like yours. First of all, mine likes to add the little playoff factor.
oh no,
They like
we're
to
just
add the dramatic playoff
fucking
ones.
a terrible
And then
gross
in
team.
the specific games, you guys like to look really good at the beginning, get a big lead, and
Piss
then
that
blow it away.
lead away.
Where we like to get really behind
And
and
then-
then pull you in with the
2 minutes
comeback.
left. Oh my god, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, with
And
the
then-
comeback,
yeah.
and then in crunch time, figure out how to way to blow it. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, dude.
I'm so
I
glad they're
guess-
not playing. I honestly needed the break.
No, I'll never
I
forgive
can't-
them.
I
I'll
can't
never
watch
forgive
them.
them, and I won't forgive my brother for being a Cowboy fan. It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. So we'll be back next week with championship games to talk about and divisional games and more horrible officiating to talk about.
There's gonna be
So
some shit going
yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us again. We love you guys, and we will see you next Sunday. How about them Cowboys? All right, peace.